We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. Here I am. How do you do? We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. The grass is not always greener on the other side. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Brian Driscoll, how you doing? Notre Dame fans, I see you in Brian Kelly's comment section on Twitter. If you missed it today, guys, Notre Dame fans want Brian Kelly back, and then the media's like, no, we don't want Brian Kelly back. We want to keep losing to Stanford and Marshall. Idiots. We will talk about that in the Ruffino's rants here today. Notre Dame fans, man, move on. There's so many other things that Notre Dame needs to be worried about outside of Brian Kelly, like, hey, wait for it, actually winning football games. You know, LSU fans can hate on Nick Saban all they want. It's their former coach. Don't see us talking about him. Move on, dude. Move on. I mean, Jesus. They want him back? Yes, I know. MP, Carter Bryant, the most non-confrontational human I've met, probably ever. Going back and forth with it with Brian Driscoll from Irish Breakdown. Don't talk about that tonight. LSU's a better program right now, dude. You can hate on it all you want. LSU, Notre Dame. There's levels to this. We'll touch on that. And look, people, you know, Joe DeLeon, who's our co-host for the SEC show on Saturday mornings, not just Saturday mornings, coming very soon. Notre Dame fan. I love Joe to death. LSU, right now, as we sit, Notre Dame, especially without Brian Kelly. You've taken a step down. We'll talk about that. Lane Kiffin in the SEC teleconference today, using some interesting words and logic, giving LSU a hell of a lot of credit, saying this is the best team that Ole Miss has faced all season long. And I'm quoting here, it's not even close, with him saying that he did kind of tip his hand just a little bit of what I think Lane's going to do. Look, Lane gets in these situations. We saw him against Ole Miss last season. Get your popcorn ready. I wonder how much, you know, does Lane doesn't always do great in these high-performance games. He can call a great game. Let's see what his team does. Lane Kiffin's a damn good coach. LSU's got a hell of a battle on their hands. It's going to come down to the wire, in my opinion. We'll see. But Lane Kiffin tips his hand. I did a little more film study on Ole Miss. We'll break that down here tonight. Brad Logan, who covers the Ole Miss Rebels 247 and is one of our good colleagues over at Believe. He does the Ole Miss Believe in Ole Miss podcast. You can catch that. We'll let you know where you can get all of that stuff when Brad joins us here at 7:30. I will give a recruiting update. LSU is hosting a massive, absolutely massive recruiting weekend this weekend. Tell you some things that we're hearing at the end of the show as soon as Brad, we are done with the segment with Brad. And then I'll get, if we have enough time, I'll get to my SEC picks of the week. Not a lot of big, pristine games in the SEC. LSU and Ole Miss is the pinnacle of that. I'll still give you my picks as we do every single week, every single time here on Wednesday night. All right, let's get to a couple comments, though, before we do get started. Pooh Bear, Lucy B loves you, man. I don't know what you've done. You know, I mean, she must think you're sexy. All right, I'm going to chill, guys. It's, you know, I'm just playing. MP, I agree with you here. I'm going to bring this comment back up. He's a car the power wrecked that guy. Yeah, he wrecked the guy, and so he should. So he should. Glenn, I'm just going to call him Ryan. I'm not getting in this fight with him. Ryan on YouTube says, I moved on from Napier. Yeah, Preston had on Glenn Gilbo last night. He said Brian Kelly's been really impressive. Kind of interesting to hear. Stephen Fry says Driscoll don't want to throw hands with our very own Carter the Power. No, he don't want to throw them hands. By the way, Creed 3 is coming out. Bop, bop. Your boy Kane, the guy that's playing Kane in the Marvel movies, dude's jacked up, man. Bop, bop. Hey, Dad, why'd you put me in like boxing and karate when we were kids? Bop. Yeah, my dad made me do a little boxing training. It worked. I hated it. Oh, man. But did she Pooh. Come on. This old vet says, man, I would have loved to see the back and forth between Driscoll and Carter. It's on Twitter. You can go see it. Holden Lee says, Zion and company are clapping these cheeks right now. Yeah, Pooh Bear's going to keep you up to date on the score live during the show. I'll keep you up to date on the Yankees-Astros score as well, as it's 0-0 on the top of the second, one out, and Yankees are obviously up to bat. So I'll keep you up to date with that one. I'm sorry. MP says Creed 3 looks like the best so far. We'll see. I love me some Creed and some Creed movies. Ryan says Blake the Butterbean Ruffino. Ryan the come on, man. Come on. You're going to throw shots. Today, Junior. Don't throw shots now.
You need to leave.
Don't throw shots, Ryan. You want to talk stuff? You want to run your mouth? You want some gangsters in front of your house? Oh, yeah! Yankees up 1-0. Let's go, baby! All I heard all day was about the Yankees are going to lose. Martin says Yankees just went yard. Yeah, they did. Ryan, calling a dude Butterbean is not a compliment. Stop. Aaron Miller says it was a Bader bomb. I just saw it. Y'all are a little. I can't watch it when I'm looking in the camera, but Bader's been going off, man. He's been going off. Paul Escon says Carter's PHL last film breakdown was fire. Please check it out. It was so good. Yeah, I was able to check out some of it today. I wasn't able to check out a lot of it. I gotta watch the games and give an unbiased opinion on what I see, and then I'll go and look what Carter does. But Carter does fantastic. I wouldn't bring him on if I didn't think that Carter did an absolutely fantastic job. That's a base hit by the Yankees, so they have a runner at first. All right, so we got a lot to get into. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get to this Ruffino's rants. Kiffin tips his hand, and Brad Logan from Ole Miss is going to be joining us. But before we get started, everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all of those Facebook groups, guys. So many of you, and y'all have been absolutely destroying it for us on Facebook. Hit the like and share. Share to all of those social media groups, all those LSU Facebook pages, and share to your own social media pages as well. We appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you listen to us on XM Radio, TuneIn app, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We greatly, greatly appreciate you doing that. I will be giving a more in-depth recruiting update tomorrow morning on the forum, AYSSnetwork.com. Go and subscribe there. Okay, let's do this. Let's pay these bills, and then we'll get started. None better than good friends over at GM Barno & Sons and BetOnline.ag. Guys, we return in a minute. You're not going to want to miss this Ruffino's rants. Notre Dame fans and media, grow up. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Vardo & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, let's get this thing started, y'all. That was a good one. Finally back and able to say that without a squeegee voice. You hear my dog barking? Wife's not home. Ben's not home. She freaks out. She has severe panic attacks. I'm just like you, man. I'm just a normal-ass dude. You know who's not normal? Do you know who's not normal? Who's not normal? So everybody do us a favor. Stop, collaborate, listen, hit the like and share. Everybody, right now, like and share. Wherever you're at, do it. You know what's not normal? Or people who aren't acting normal right now? Notre Dame fans. Notre Dame media. Look, all off season, you had a chance. You did what you did. You said what you said about Brian Kelly over and over and over and over again. LSU fans kind of responded to you. They've waited patiently. But I'm going to try to nip this in the bud here tonight. I know I'm not. I know I'm probably just saying this and it falls on deaf ears. You lost to Marshall. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame would not have lost to Marshall. You lost to Stanford, a 1-4 Stanford team. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame would not have lost to that Stanford team. Last season, when you're up big against Oklahoma State in a bowl game, more than likely Brian Kelly would have found a way, and that team would have found a way not to lose to Oklahoma State. See, the problem is that the grass is not always greener on the other side, right? You hire a guy, and look, I like Marcus Freeman. I think Marcus Freeman is a hell of a coach. I think one day, potentially, he's going to be a really good head coach, just not at Notre Dame. I don't think that they're going to allot him the time to get things rolling. It's my opinion. He inherited an 11-1 football team, and he's still losing. Didn't have a lot of people hit the portal. Yeah, you had your best player go to the draft, but so does everybody else. LSU had 10 guys in the draft last season. LSU was second in the SEC and most drafted players last year behind, guess who? National championship winning Georgia Bulldogs. There's not excuses. You want to act like you're on top. You want to act like you're one of the bigger programs, which you were under Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly couldn't win the big game. Sounds good. How many guys are you getting in the portal again? Oh, can you get players from the transfer portal? Oh, you can't because of academic standards. I got you. You got a guy from Northwestern. Sounds good. It's also a very high prestigious academic program. Can you get a guy from Alabama? Can you get a guy from LSU? Can you get a guy from other programs that go into the portal? More than likely, you can't. You bragged about the number 1 overall recruiting class. I get on the On 3 or 247, you're not there anymore. Oh, we got a better class than LSU. For now. That's not going to stand because LSU is going to have a massive recruiting weekend. They're going to continue to get guys, and they're probably and more than likely going to surpass you in these rankings. You don't have a Shelton Sampson in your recruiting class. You don't have a Deshaun Womack, who we got confirmed will be in Baton Rouge here this weekend. You don't have those type of dudes. And you talked all that stuff about Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly makes a post on Twitter today. Notre Dame fans littered underneath that post. Coach, we miss you. No, you don't miss him. Brian Kelly told you what he thought. Did he need a fresh start? I'm sure he did. But you have to be realistic, just like LSU fans and LSU has to be realistic at times. Guys, LSU had problems the last 2 seasons. What they haven't had is problems, severe problems like you've had over the last 20 years. 4 national title appearances, 3 national titles, a coach like Brian Kelly coming down here, and guys, they're a win away from being tied for the SEC West lead in year 1 under Brian Kelly. So you moan, you complain, oh my God, my titty nipples hurt, all that kind of stuff. All of that kind of stuff. You moan, you complain, oh, my neck, my back, my booty. You can't win football games. I get it. Which program is the dumpster fire, Brian Driscoll? You going out here saying Marcus Freeman at the podium is worrying you by the things that he says. Buddy, with all due respect, at some point you got to double down and say when you're wrong. See, last night I even came on this show and admitted when I was wrong. I was wrong about Kayshon Boutte and the leadership that he's showing. Guys, I talk too much on the radio. I talk too much on this show. We're adding another full-time show coming January. I talk too much about football and college athletics for me not to be wrong. Sometimes some of you in the media need to act like a just human. You're not Jesus Christ. And what's funny is you cover a Catholic program. You're going to be wrong in your analysis. You're going to be wrong with your picks. Nobody's perfect. But what you were ultimately wrong about was who and what type of caliber coach Brian Kelly really is. Do you really think that Brian Kelly, let's be a little realistic. Let's be just a little realistic here. Should LSU, realistically, should LSU and Brian Kelly legitimately be 5-2 right now? Think about it for a minute. See, you think that when I say LSU going 8-4, going to a bowl game, potentially getting to a 9th win, if they could ultimately get there, you're saying, well, Blake, that's not a great achievement. It is for where LSU is coming from in the last 2 seasons. You got to understand what type, guys, there is a prestige, there's maybe a handful of prestige coaches, not just in college football, but in any sport. Look, like I see and hear, and spaces are on here in the comments, like Dabo's overrated. Says whom? You know, you Saban in Alabama loses 1 game and you're out on him. Why? He's the best coach of all time. Guys, they lost a game. They lost a game. They've lost 3 games. Think about this. They've lost 3 games since 2020. They lost 1 this year, 2 last year, and none in 2020. Stupid dog. Y'all hear my dog? I'm about to have to just punt her. She's driving me insane. Brian Kelly is more in the category of the Sabans, of the Dabos, without the national titles. He's going to get him one, I promise you. He's going to get him one. Come hell or high water, that man's going to do everything he can to get him a natty. At bare minimum, he's going to get himself back in the playoff to fight for one. My point is this. Notre Dame fans, your media is not going to tell you the truth. You're worried. You're complaining about Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman had no head coaching experience before he took over Notre Dame. One thing I will tell Notre Dame fans, you are a big program. There's no reason you should hire Marcus Freeman as your head coach. 0 reasons why you should have hired a first-time head coach because the players said so. Those same players are going out on Thursday nights drinking beer and trying to have sex with co-eds. Like a normal college person. Like a normal college kid. You're taking the thoughts over and opinions and feelings of college athletes and college kids on what is going to probably and more than likely set you up for the next 10 years. Brian Kelly left you a foundation. You're not executing off that foundation. Trust me. Listen, LSU in a lot of senses got, I don't want to say lucky because it had a lot of hard work, but you hired a coach who the players wanted in Ed Orgeron, and it did prevail. But that goes to show the difference in where LSU is and was and where Notre Dame is and was. LSU still went 9-4 in a season that they lost to Troy in the SEC West, the toughest division in college football. I like Marcus Freeman. Selfishly, if Matt House does move on and gets another job somewhere, I wouldn't mind Marcus Freeman as our DC. Legitimately wouldn't. Guys, he's not a head coach right now. And he's learning on the job. He's learning on the job. I agree with Ryan. 2 words, Blake, they're spoiled and entitled. Exactly, it's what they are. It's exactly what they are. Grow up, Peter Pan. I do want to move to this. Lane Kiffin spoke today on the SEC teleconference. Oh, my God. Hold on. Come on. Get in here. Drives me insane. I don't know, Pooh, could you hear the barking? Okay, well, it's driving me up a wall. Okay. So Lane Kiffin was on the SEC teleconference today. Let me tell you something that I thought was really interesting. I didn't punt her. I'm not going to punt a dog, dude. Chill. The only time I do something to her is like her and Ben getting these fights. Or look, and our dog's like a little chihuahua, little Dotson. Dotsons are mean as hell, but she bites Ben. Like last weekend, she bit Ben on the cheek. Man, call him, please. Take the dog. Megan would kill me. Let me get to this before Brad Logan. We'll get to couple of comments. Lane Kiffin tipped his hand, man, on that SEC teleconference. Man, he sounds nervous. I don't know if he has a reason to sound nervous. I mean, look, he's got a really good football team. What LSU team are you going to get Saturday at 2:30? Better yet, what offense are you going to get? Are you going to have another special teams problem or issue? Are you going to have another special teams woe? Let me just say this. If it comes to 4th and 4, Pooh Bear, if Ole Miss passes the 50 and it's 4th and 4, hell, if it's 4th down in general, they're going for it. They're going for it. I am on every one. I am on every one of these SEC teleconference calls, like every one. I don't really have a life, man. And I don't listen to every coach. Like I don't listen to Drinkowitz. I don't listen to Lee. I'm going to tune in usually to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, obviously, he leads it off. And I listened to, I think it was noon today that Lane Kiffin spoke. It just, something feels off with him. And I listen to Lane a lot. I listen to his press conferences. I listen to him on SEC teleconferences. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I'll tell you this, and this is going to be a game plan. Guys, they're going to go for it a lot. They're going for it. I think that Lane just knows that the atmosphere and what LSU is fighting for. Look, last week you saw Tennessee do something at home with their fans. Let's call it what it is. It helped propel them over Alabama. You have Will Anderson coming out in the public saying, listen, guys, we were pretty intimidated by Tennessee and their fan base. Will Anderson's never said anything to remotely on that level. I really hope LSU fans pack it out. I talked to some Ole Miss fans today. A lot of them said they're not coming. Why, I don't know. They had tickets. They're trying to sell them. I know like 2 or 3 couples that sold their tickets to LSU fans. Something just feels off here, man. And it starts with Lane. Now, maybe again, do we get it to a situation where Lane plays a little bit conservative? I don't see it. I don't see it. I think that he looks at Jane Daniels. I think that he looks at the offense and goes, man, they got so many weapons on the outside. And it is, guys. It is the best team. It is the best team that Ole Miss has played. Look, they played Auburn. You played Auburn and won. Now, that game was, remotely the same. I mean, both teams, both guys, both coaches went up against Brian Harsin, and both games were really close. Very close. Now, I don't like transitive properties, but Mississippi State just went up to Kentucky and got beat. You beat Mississippi State too. I just feel like Lane, I don't know. It's really wild. It's really weird. I would expect Lane to put the pedal to the metal. I would fully. Yeah, I saw it. Yankees Houston is 1-1 bottom of 2 outs with a runner on second. What's interesting is I feel like Lane's going to try to press it a little bit. Look, the last time Kayshon Boutte faced Ole Miss in Tiger Stadium, he broke an SEC record. I'm not saying he's going to do that today, but, man, duplicate what you did last week and you're going to win. And I will say this, the complete narrative, and I asked Wilson Alexander this last night, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Guys, it's a massive game for LSU. It's a massive game for Brian Kelly. If you're tied for the SEC West lead and you're 6-2, guys, your entire program starts changing. Now, I'll give you a little bit of this recruiting update. I'll get some more. I'll go very much more in detailed on the forum tomorrow morning. Guys, it's a massive, massive weekend for LSU in recruiting. Now, losing or winning doesn't ultimately dictate how that's going to go, but you got Trey Holly coming to Baton Rouge. You have Dalen Austin, the very small margin 5-star corner from California. You have Deshaun Womack, who some believe is the best pass rusher in this class. Guys, Deshaun Womack from Maryland, D.C. area, who committed on July the 4th on this show. Guys, don't listen to me. Go ask the people who follow recruiting and legitimately watch kids and rank kids. They think that he can be one of, if not the best pass rusher in this class. He will be here. You'll have a lot of uncommitted kids that will be in attendance this upcoming Saturday. This, it's funny because it's like, when's LSU going to have that game? When are they going to have that time where you sit back and you have a situation where, okay, well, LSU has a massive win. Now, I don't think last week was a massive win to this extent, but if you beat the number 7 team at home, that's where things start changing a lot. But you can't make this game bigger than it is. You can't make this game bigger than it is. LSU can win, guys. Excuse me, man. LSU can win. I have a lot of faith in them this week. A lot of faith in them this week. So we'll see. Paul Escon says duplicate. God, dog it. Sorry about my voice. Paul Escon says duplicate 6 TDs on 6 consecutive drives. Not sure about that. Yeah, not completely, Paul. I'm not being technical. I'm not being completely technical. The offensive performance is going to have to duplicate. You're going to have a lot of success to win is what I mean. Howard Jr. on YouTube says LSU's offense and defense shows up early. LSU wins by 12. I like that. I like that a lot. Dip on YouTube says Lane already has 1 foot out the door. I don't know about that, man. I feel like Lane, there was a lot of job openings over the last couple of years. I feel like if Lane was going to go, he would have gone. I mean, who's he? I don't mean this in a wrong way, but where's he going to go? I don't know if Auburn's a better gig than Ole Miss right now. Going into the same state as Nick Saban. I don't think Auburn's a better job than Ole Miss at the current moment. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like Auburn's a better program when they fired Harsin. Wisconsin's not a better program. Nebraska's not a better program. Not right now. And I don't think Lane's going to want to go to Nebraska and build something like that. Nurse Court says, same on Ole Miss fans not coming, but they are happy as F they didn't get a night game or night time frame. Yeah, I can get that. I can get that. You know what's interesting? I know we're so far away from I say so far. We're not that far away. You know what's interesting, though, is LSU Alabama is going to be at night, man, because you know and I know that Tennessee, Georgia is going to be the 2:30 CBS game. Pooh Bear. Okay. Bear Granger. Coach Granger. Says, I feel like Lane wants to make Ole Miss a success and stays until a huge opening comes up. Yeah, you mean like Alabama? Lane Kiffin's dumb enough to take the reins behind Saban. And I'll tell you what, I think Lane I think Lane would do very well at Ole Miss. At Alabama. I don't think Alabama would go for it, but he's crazy enough. Lloyd says on Facebook, go Bronx Bombers. Each team has an LSU star. It's true. But LeMahieu's hurt, though. Or has been hurt. He's been hurt. Okay. Brad just texted me and said he's not going to be able to make it tonight. Damn. All right. Well. All right, so it'll be just us. We'll be fine with that. Mayor says Dabo probably want to go to Bama. He's not going. Mayor, he's not going to Bama. Pan Jones says I don't think Alabama would hire Kiffin just because of his behavior. Pan, I can agree with that. But he would be crazy enough to do it, and he'd have a lot of success there. All right, well, let's do this then since Brad's not joining us. Pooh, let's go to a quick break. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Falls over at State Farm. Guys, get over to my guy Carol. Look, let's call it what it is, man. Inflation's hitting people. Times are getting tough. You need to call Carol Falls today. See if he can reduce some of your insurance. Life insurance, car insurance, home insurance, whatever it may be. Call Carol Falls today. Guys, what if he saves you $200 a month in premium? It's a massive amount. Guys, for some of you, that could be 2 tanks of gas. Call Carol Falls today and let him know that your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. All right, 45 seconds. Let's talk about our good friend Carol. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We got much more to talk about. Let's go around the SEC and continue to talk LSU. We'll get to all the rest of your comments. So questions, thoughts, concerns, fire them inside the Rudy Crew chat, and we'll get to them. We'll be right back. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. All right, I do want to talk to. I hadn't talked about him in a while. My guy too, my good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives, guys. If you're buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage you have now, or even doing a cash out refi, the timing has never been better. Get in touch with John Patton from GMFS Mortgage today. Let him know that your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Okay. We'll do this. That's fine. We can continue to get to some of these comments, concerns. Take it to the old school, man. Take it to the old school. Everybody do us a favor. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Hit the like and share. Remington Pierce. What's up, Remington? What's up, buddy? He says, Lane fits Oxford. He's a douche. Now, I agree with that. He is a really, really good fit for Ole Miss. A very good fit. He said, plus there's plenty of blondes. Well, I think, look, one thing I'll give Lane, and look, I've talked to a couple of people around there. Lane's kind of calmed down a little bit. Now, on the field antics, yes. But Lane's calmed down a little bit. Joey Freshwater, as Pooh Bear calls him, and as he's well known. Look, sometimes, man, you got to grow up. And here's an interesting thought. We were talking about Marcus Freeman just a minute ago, right? And how Notre Dame, he's a little bit over his skis. Wasn't Lane Kiffin? I think Kiffin was a little in over his skis. Guys, when he went to USC, when he went to the Raiders, come on, man. I mean, he lost it. I mean, USC, yeah, I get it. Tennessee, he didn't have a lot of success. There was a reason that he was at the Alabama Rehabilitation Center. Yeah, Pooh, he lost to Stanford, though. And that Stanford team, I know that they had sanctions. I get that. But still, a lot of teams, there was a reason he got fired there, too. My point is there is similarity. There is a lot more similarities of Lane Kiffin in his early career to Marcus Freeman. Both of them, yes, different sides of the ball. I understand it. But Lane's changed his ways a little bit. Kind of nail cheesy. Says Lane is so similar to Saban with his mannerisms at the podium. So true. I feel like he's mocking Saban when he does that. Mike Andrews says, haven't been a follower of the Tiger Ole Miss game. It just fit better on Halloween weekend. It was very special. Yeah, and it's going to be, it's going to be the bye week. I mean, I agree with you. Spooky things happen. I'm there with you. And look, that game deserves to be, it deserves to be a night game. The bad thing about, and Brian Kelly joked about this in his press conference, the funny thing is you can't worry about times and time slots and where these games are scheduled by the SEC and things like that. Everybody's got to get paid. Look, ESPN's paying the bills, man. ESPN's paying the bills, and CBS is paying the bills, and they're going to dictate when and where you do things. They just are. Whether you like it or not, the ESPN's going to dictate how and where you do things. That game deserves to be at night. Nurse Court says Lane likes Twitter more than me. He does like him some Twitter now. Pooh Bear says that there's a score update. Pels up against Brooklyn, I believe, is who they're playing. Pooh Bear was telling me. Pels are up 58-50 at the half. And look at there. Look how many Zion got. Did Zion eat more Krispy Kreme donuts before the game than points that he has? What's the over-under? How many points does Zion have? Look, let me get you this recruiting update really quickly. I'll go in more detail on the message board, so subscribe, AYSSnetwork.com. That's AYSSnetwork.com. Subscribe today, guys. It's $7 a month. Look, this weekend's going to be pretty massive for Brian Kelly. Look, I don't want to be limited here to some extent. Recruiting is the lifeblood that fuels your program. And, the one thing, if there was one thing I was worried about with Brian Kelly, it was recruiting. But, man, look at the staff that he's put around him. In the recruiting office, you still have Sherman Wilson, Jordan Arsenal, Bobby. I mean, there's so many guys that you have that run recruiting and run things to the extent when the playing portion of the season goes on. One thing that we don't talk about with Brian Polian, right? Like the one thing we don't talk about. Yes, we talk about on the field and special teams. Guys, he's still your recruiting coordinator. You're still doing really freaking well nationally in recruiting. Sometimes you got to take with the good with the bad sometimes. Now, special teams can't be that bad to where you keep him just as a recruiting coordinator because LSU is going to recruit itself a lot of times. But, man, I really like this class. When you could stack up classes back-to-back, look, I would rather the 5th or 6th rated class in the country and you be more well-balanced than have an Orgeron type of class where you're number 3 in the country and you're not balanced and you don't have the offensive line that can win you a national title. Guys, they're getting there with the offensive line. They're going to continue to get there. So Lance Herb, Paul Mabinga, I mean, whatever it may be, they are doing it along the offensive line. And guys, I'm going to tell you, they're going to continue to hit the portal. Brian Kelly said he wanted to build this team through high school, but he doesn't have a choice. He's still going to go through the portal. So take into a little bit of account, well, Blake, we haven't had a lot of recruits commit lately. And I agree with you there, and they're still going to get some. But I think that the number that LSU is shooting for high school guys that will make a majority of this class and transfer portal guys, I think they're trying to get to 32 to 35. 35 being the absolute max if some players inside your program transfer out. And it's of my opinion that they're going to get there. You're going to be a lot better when you get closer to the 85 scholarship limit than where you are right now. You don't have the depth issue. Maybe special teams gets better. We'll see about that. But I think it's interesting. You got a lot of big names that'll be here this weekend. A lot of massive names that'll be here this weekend. Good thing is, these committed guys, these five-star guys, Dalen Alston, Deshaun Womack, and others, they're not wanting to go anywhere, right? Like, they're staying here. Like, they're committed to you. They're making conscious efforts to go out there and do it. Pooh Bear says no max, depends on 85 total, right? Correct. So there's no max, but you do get to a certain point where you're going to max out, right? Like, so I think from what I'm being told is I feel like LSU feels in the conversations that I have is that they believe, Pooh, that they can't get above 35. Like, then you're going to have to – some guys are going to have to transfer, but they're going to know that. I think 32 is more realistic. I think what they did last year is more realistic than 35. But I think that that's where they want to sit at. There are some needs that you have, right? You still need some more experience, depth along the defensive line. You got a lot of guys leaving there. You can use another pass rusher when B.J. Ojolari leaves. Guys, quite honestly, you open the door. You need to get more experience interior defensive line than what you've had in the past. Or let's say in the past, what you have right now. Hey. I had soccer. You had soccer? Uh-huh. Did you score a goal? Uh-huh. I got a sticker. You got a sticker for scoring a goal? Uh-huh. I heard that you lead the league and score goals. Is this true? Mm-hmm. Okay. Can Daddy finish the show? You want to sit right here? So you got to be really quiet, though, okay? Okay. All right. You see Pooh Bear? I'm so proud of you for leading your team in goals. Are you really good at soccer? Why do you keep hitting your chest? He keeps doing this. He does this every time he scores a goal. Who told you that? Who told you? Did Pooh Bear teach you that? Did Pooh Bear teach you that? Are you dry snitching? Yeah. Okay. You always dry snitching on Pooh. What did Pooh ever do to you? That. All right. Can Daddy finish the show, please? All right. I love you. Love you. Oh, I love you. I love you. It's me. It is you. Actually, that's Honey. It's Honey. Yeah, that's Honey right there. But she's got your picture. It's my picture. Yeah. All right. Let's finish this. Daddy will be there in just a minute, okay? Hey, Daddy's glad you scored a goal. Good job. Close the door. He leads his little team and score goals. Pooh, can I be honest? I can't go to the games. You know the parent that's like at the games that freaks out? I'm the dude. Like, yeah! Aunt Martha says the star of the show is here. Yes, I've been here all night. Thank you. Big MC on YouTube says LSU football team like a very good pot of gumbo. It takes 7 to 8 hours to cook, or 7 or 8 games before it gets done. Then it will be good, guaranteed. Yeah. Pooh Bear says, imagine being that parent, but you're also the coach. Is that you, Pooh? Pooh Bear, is that you? Yes or no?
Yeah, I've got several times I've been recording the games, and Dylan gets a big run, and I'm screaming and yelling, and I go back and watch the video, and I've accidentally flipped it, so it's just a video of me screaming and yelling at the camera. Yeah,
Hey, man.
hey, it's
Look, man, it's
exciting.
your kids. It's your
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, him scoring goals makes me happy. Makes me happy. And really what makes me happy is he's having fun. That I think that's the biggest part of it all. But to finish this part of the recruiting, we'll go around the SEC too. Saints play tomorrow. We might do a little pregame show. We won't stay long. But the Yankees do have 2 outs, running on second, third, top of the third. Come on, you got to score. Look, to finish this recruiting, I'm not worried about the. Look, I will admit here. Let me admit something to all of you here. And speaking about recruiting, and some of you that have known us and have followed us for a long time, man, holistically, I don't really worry about this staff. I really worried about Orgeron. Like I really, really, really worried about Ed Orgeron. I think that LSU and Brian Kelly has things in place that if there's a big time player realistically that they know that they can get, they're going to be able to get them. There's a reason that you have guys. When's the last time you heard about LSU being behind an NIL? It's so funny about how many of the narratives that LSU had and Brian Kelly had during the offseason that have not come to pass. Remember when everybody was mad at Brian Kelly for not doing a recruiting press conference? Like y'all remember that? Now they sit at top 5 of the in the country in recruiting. They're going to get even better. This has been over 2 weeks since I said this. I feel a lot better about Javian Taviano, the corner out of Texas or DB out of Texas, 5-star DB. Can LSU go back inside the state of Texas? Now I know Harold Perkins was from Louisiana, and I get that. But can LSU go back inside the state of Texas and pluck another 5-star? I don't know if they're done with running back. I think that they might, depending on what happens with, John Emery, I think can come back. I mean, because he's still got the red shirt in the COVID year. Noah Kane can come back. Goodwin has to come back. Josh Williams can come back. And then you have 2 other good backs in Trey Hiley and Caleb Jackson that will be here. Do they go after another back? I don't know that. But it's been talked about. I'll tell you that. But the biggest thing is that they're cleaning up on both lines of scrimmage, and that's where you win football games. That's where you win football games. Tony says we need to check Ben's birth certificate. Trust me, he's 3. He's 3. But he's so much more athletic than the other kids in his class. I just hope that pans out. Hey, man, listen, y'all think I was an athlete and I talk about it? I'm not the athlete in this family. The athlete in this family is 9 months pregnant. Eric says, do you think Hendon Hooker solidified his Heisman last weekend? No, because he could still lose a couple of games and C.J. Stroud could still go undefeated and he won't win it. Speaking of the SEC, like Tennessee's got UT Martin this week. They're going to win that one. I mean, look, if we want to go around the SEC, it's not a great week of these SEC games, right? Like I mentioned, at 11 o'clock, you have UT Martin in Tennessee. Obviously, at 2:30, you have Ole Miss LSU. That's going to be a pretty big game. You have Vandy and Missouri in the biggest snooze fest of the SEC probably all season. This one's interesting, though. You got Mississippi State going to Alabama, 6 o'clock. Alabama, are they going to revenge? And I'll tell you this, a game I'm going to be really intrigued by, 6:30, Texas A&M versus South Carolina. Texas A&M is coming off of a bye week. I don't think South Carolina's got enough dudes. So listen. Oh, I got your ass now. Pause. So listen, we in our production, we have where I see your comments as a listener, and obviously I need to be able to communicate with Zach and Pooh Bear behind the scenes. So I just said that Megan was, my wife was more athletic than I was, and she's the athlete of the family. I'm about to expose you. No, I ain't gonna say it. No, I'm gonna say it. Pooh Bear says she's not too athletic, me and Megan, because he says she let you pin her down twice. Twice. Look, man, I can pour the charm on when I need to, Pooh. I got some swag now. I can pour the swag on when I need to. Light some candles around this piece. Never mind. I'm not gonna tell you on my swag piece. $9.99. If you want a swag piece, let me know. I can tell you how to make your wife love you more. Aunt Marshall says Noah has his COVID year. It's true. It's true. So listen, I think what LSU's doing in recruiting, they'll be fine there, and they're gonna have a lot of guys returning. That's a good thing. Here's another question. Does Jaden return? What do you do at quarterback? Just guys like Jaquelin Roy return. You got Mason Smith returning. If I'm Brian Kelly, I'm telling Jaquelin Roy he's got to return. He's got to come back. Could you imagine that? Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, Jaquelin Roy returning. Then you start getting into. Then that's when you really start saying, okay, look, now this team's got depth and talent because you still got Quincy Wiggins. You'll have Deshaun Womack. Here's the question though: they're going to need a pass rusher. Guys like Savion Jones is going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up because the one thing that I'm really nervous about, man, is the last couple of weeks we have not gotten a pass rush with our defensive line. That worries me a little bit. That does worry me a little bit. And I know that Ole Miss wants to run the football, but look, since Brad didn't join us, I'll even give you Josh, you need a blue pill, buddy. Not me. I promise you. I promise you. Let me just I don't know if this is a bigger concern to you guys like it is me. I'm really worried about our pass rush. And if I'm Brian Kelly, if I'm Matt House, guys, I'm stacking the box. I'm making Jackson Dart beat us through the air. I am making him beat us through the air. I am not going to allow, there's just no way I'm going to allow Ole Miss to come in here and run the football all over the place. No way. Let Jackson Dart have his best day. And if he starts eating you alive through the air, then you start making adjustments. You got to stop their running game first. I'll tell you this. They don't have – if you can stop them running the football, I know that Mingo, their big wide receiver, is a big-time playmaker. For whatever reason, man, I feel much more confident. You know a guy that we hadn't talked about at all? Mekhi Garner's having a stellar year. Like last week, he did not give up a catch. I think that's back-to-back weeks Mekhi Garner has not given up a catch. And one of those teams was against Tennessee, and Hyatt was on the other side, the great wide receiver at Tennessee. So, listen, there are parts of this. There are things that I think that LSU can accomplish and make happen, but I'm stacking the box. I'm putting 7 or 8 guys in there. Maybe that's another game that you see Harold Perkins play significant snaps. We'll see. Andrew Paul Sub Martin. Of course, Paul Sub said this. He said, speaking of the blue pill, the one in the Matrix tastes like blue raspberry. Crazy. Austin Johnson says, dude is a dog. If you're talking about Harold Perkins, that he is. That he is. And look, I get, and I don't disagree with anybody when they say put in Harold Perkins. Like, I want that to be very well known. I want that to be very, very, very well known. He needs to play more. Tyler says, do you think we see Perkins with first team this weekend? I think he's going to have to rotate. I mean, but the problem is, though, Austin, and here's what, a lot of our media doesn't understand, is if you've noticed, they've given Harold Perkins 3 things to do. Spy the quarterback, rush the quarterback, or play in the flat. That's it. They're not giving him a lot of complex things to do. And I think a lot of that has to do with that they've seen something. Guys, let me ask this very serious question. Very serious question. Do you really believe that they don't want to play Harold Perkins? Like, do you really believe that? So what's happening at practice? Oh. Something has to be happening to where they don't feel like maybe on a 3rd and 7, they don't feel confident with him in coverage. Well, Blake, we'll let him rush the passer. Were you going to take Savion Jones off the field for Harold Perkins? Because they've been going last 2 weeks, they've gone BJ Ojulari and Savion Jones. I'm not taking Savion Jones off the field, man. I'm just not doing it. Yes, you got to be creative, but if you are the fan or media member subscribing to the fact that you really believe that LSU and Brian Kelly and Matt House is saying, hey, you know what? Let's not play Harold Perkins on this drive because of X, Y, or Z. There's got to be something at practice, right? Like there's got to be something going on. So I'm not of the belief that this coaching staff is just letting the young man sit. Now, could I be wrong there? Maybe. Holy good moly of live. Dylan Smith, where you been, bro? With the $100 super chat. My man. You get all kinds of buttons when you send a $100 super chat. Thanks, my brother. Doing good, man. Doing good. Father Abear says Baskerville had 11 tackles last week. He's going to need a big game this weekend stopping the run. I agree with that. And look, you can't take, I don't remember who who it was that was in those Twitter spaces. But somebody last weekend said, take care of Micah Baskerville off the field. No, dude. Get out of here with that malarkey, that absolute BS. Thank you so much again, Dylan. Big Mud says, I thought he wasn't getting played as much because he needs to learn the whole defensive scheme. That's where I sit, right? Like, because guys, they've only given him 3 things to do. Why do you think that is? Brian Kelly's not an idiot. Come on, I mean, sometimes when people say stuff like that, like, think about it. Like when you say something, there's another look. When if you don't learn anything from me, learn from me this. If you say something to the effect, okay, Harold Perkins needs to play, right? Ask and Brian Kelly has already answered this, guys. He believed that Tennessee would have schemed around going at Harold Perkins, and he wasn't wrong, guys. They ran the ball right at Harold Perkins 4 times when he was in. One of them, he got held, so it backed him up. Then they ran the ball 3 straight times for 29 yards. They ran it right at him. So, yeah. All right, a couple more than we're getting out here. Preston guy says, commenting on a not Tuesday. What's good, y'all? Yeah, Preston felt bad because he was a horrible friend and only commenting on nights that he has shows. Preston, when's the baby due? Dylan Smith says, doing well, living life, bro. It's good to see you, man. We hadn't seen you in a while. We haven't been doing Twitter spaces either. Been getting toxic up in there. Big MC says, hashtag Ask Blake. Yes, I'm being petty. Hashtag Ask Blake. When LSU wins this game, will BK be in front of for the coach of the year? No. I think that the front runner right now for coach of the year is Josh Heupel. I don't think that it's remotely close right now. Right now. You dirty dog. Hey, Preston, they call me Big Daddy. We'll call you Little Daddy. 401k Daddy. Roth IRA Daddy. Let me wet my whistle, head ass Daddy. Preston, I love it, brother. Congratulations. You know I love you. Preston's gonna be a daddy on Monday. I love it, buddy. I love it. All right, I lied. 2 more. We're out of here. Penn Jones says Perkins is still too light to be in the standout player against the run. I tend to agree. I think that's Penn. I think that's why he's not playing in the box more. Jawan Hurd says, Blake, you think Daniels replicates his performance this weekend? Well, you better tune in tomorrow to find out because we're going to give keys to victory. All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.